This entire offseason, the prevailing thought was that the Vikings were going to part ways with star running back Dalvin Cook. He's going to be 28 and also carries a significant cap charge, a large salary. A lot of it is not guaranteed. So you were thinking that, okay, Dalvin, four straight Pro Bowls, 4 straight 1,000-yard seasons, still has some trade value. Better to give up on him a year too early versus a year too late, and the Dolphins make the most sense in the world. But then the draft came and went, especially day 2. You're thinking, okay, maybe the Vikings can swing a day 2 selection for Dalvin, but the Dolphins are like, ah. So on top of free agency, when they re-signed Raheem Mostert, as well as my name Jeff Wilson, they drafted Devin Achane from Texas A&M. Speedy. Absolute speed, man. So, I mean, the Dolphins, by the way, may have the fastest offense in league history. It's kind of insane, though. It's like they're setting up like several 4x1 teams. But, so that dream may be done. Maybe done. So, maybe all of a sudden it's a Dalvin, I'm not leaving situation, because the Vikings, I mean, he has a $10.4 million base salary. He's got a $14 million and change cap hit, as well as $2 million of his base salary is already fully guaranteed. So the Vikings would save around $7.9 million if they traded him, about $5.9 million if they cut him. And at this stage, I think it's almost more likely that they'll work something out, because I don't think the Vikings would accept just a day 3 selection for Dalvin. And I think that the Vikings do see that Dalvin still has a lot of value, but something's going to have to happen with this contract, because I think the sticking point is the cap hit. And Dalvin does have the 3rd highest cap hit for running backs in the league. And that could change a little bit, because pending on what happens with Derrick Henry, maybe Tennessee hangs on to him, maybe not. Maybe he takes a pay cut. Joe Mixon may be punted as well. So, I mean, Dalvin could be up there with Nick Chubb in terms of having the highest cap hit in the league. And I think that's where the sticking point is right now, because the Vikings are strapped for cap, and Kwesi has made a lot of moves this offseason, freeing up cap, whether it's cutting Adam Thielen, whether it's letting go of Eric Kendricks, as well as getting Harrison Smith to take a pay cut. So, would Dalvin be open to a pay cut? Reportedly, Doogie said earlier this offseason that Dalvin wouldn't be open to it. But of course, that could just be him and his agent playing hardball. But it could be a spot where the Vikings just restructure him, because he does have 3 years left on his deal. Could they do a classic restructure where they rip down his $10.4 million base salary down to the bones, give him the veteran minimum, and then spread out the cap hits after they convert it to a signing or a roster bonus? It's possible. Right? So the Vikings would kick the can on some cap. They already budgeted a lot of space in 2024 and 2025, so that is a possibility. Or does Dalvin understands that, hey, if the Vikings cut me, I'm probably not going to sniff anywhere near $8 million in free agency per season. So maybe maybe a pay cut down to $8 million could make some sense in this spot. Or maybe the Vikings like, hey, can we bring it down to $7.4 million, and then we'll give you $3 million in incentives? So playing time incentives, wins incentives, Pro Bowl incentives, statistical incentives. Could that all be in the mix? Who really knows? And this offseason has been a little contentious. So, I mean, Dalvin, team leader, team captain, of course, they are voluntary workouts, but he skipped the start of Vikings voluntary workouts to be in a fishing tournament, which he won, by the way. Awesome. Fantastic, as well as, of course, the social media. He covered up the Vikings logo with a smiley face, all that stuff. So, but I mean, all this stuff is no harm, no foul. I think that if the Vikings and Dalvin see themselves together, they could easily work things out. And Dalvin, like we said, does have 4 straight 1,000-yard seasons, but it is a what have you done for me lately league. And last year he had a career low 4.4 yards per carry. Now that's not all on him, obviously. Offensive line, as well as, I don't know, just the Vikings never seem to get into a sustainable rhythm of continuity up front to run the ball. But with the addition of Josh Oliver, the best blocking tight end in the game, re-signing C.J. Ham, the Vikings are looking to play a lot heavier packages, whether it be 12 or 22 personnel. And I think that Dalvin, even at 28 during the 2023 season, could have one last big year in him. And, I mean, so Dalvin, if Dalvin wants to win a ring, he has to look at this offense and be like, this is special. Like, this has a chance to be one of the best offenses in the league. This has a chance to be one of the best offenses in team history, and that says a lot given the Vikings history on that side of the ball. But you look at what they can do in the passing game. Continuity up front, knock on wood, hopefully that offensive line stays healthy so they keep Kirk upright. They can run the ball. Oliver is going to be bashing things both as a secondary receiver as well as just open things up in the running game. And then his guy CJ Ham is going to be there opening holes. Probably going to utilize the fullback a lot more on heavier packages on offense this year, and they're going to sling it all over the lot. So, and Dalvin has to see this and be like, we have a chance to score 40, 50 points a game. Legit. And this offensive passing game is going to open so many things up, and there's going to be so many light boxes, and I'm going to be able to put up a ton of yards. So maybe Dalvin just sees the situation for what it is, and maybe he takes a look at that contract and is like, okay, maybe I'll take a restructure. Maybe I will take a minor pay cut and make it back in incentives because I believe in this team. I believe in what they're going to do this year. So I don't know. But at this stage, like I said, the Vikings may have had a trade offer on the table. That's probably rescinded at this point. I don't think that they settle for a fourth or fifth rounder for Dalvin at this stage. So it's anyone's guess. But he is under contract, and I could see a spot where, again, this is super dirty, but the business is the business, where they get through OTAs and mandatory mini camp and then training camp, and then right before the start of the season, they're like, okay, Dalvin, take a pay cut or we're going to cut you. And then it's even a further conundrum because you'd have to learn a brand new system, a brand new team, and try to scrape together some money after all the cap has been spent already. So that could be the leverage point for the Vikings. Or maybe it doesn't get that far. Maybe he does take that pay cut. Maybe he does go the Harrison Smith route, but we'll see. But I think that even though Dalvin is getting up there in age, I think that shoulder surgery, so that thing will be good to go. So it won't pop out like it has each of the last 3 years. And chip on the shoulder and just get after it, man. Because, again, this has a chance to be a very, very special offense with the addition of Jordan Addison and Josh Oliver and that offensive line getting their ish together. So we'll see what happens with Dalvin. But your thoughts are thoughts. What is going to happen with the Vikings and Dalvin Cook this offseason? Let us know your thoughts and our thoughts in the comment section below. Subscribe for daily Vikings takes. Want to support the work? Put a little something in the Venmo. But till next time, Skol, production value.